Welcome to my channel, guys. Today we are talking about Nikon Z50 Mark II. And this is not an easy one, but easier than it was before. Why? Because the price has dropped since the date of the release of the camera. So I think this is actually a better time to review this camera than, day one, release day one. Because, to be honest, we have a great camera here with 8 years old sensor. So that's a bummer. So Nikon, if you are, listening to this recording, if you're watching this recording, please give us new DX sensor. That's it. Okay, but now let's talk about the good things. This camera is great. I mean, ergonomically, it's fantastic. It's not too big. It's not too heavy. It's rather light, but very easy to use. You can use it one-handed. Everything works flawlessly. All the dials. It's very easy to use it with one hand, and I do like it and I do appreciate it. And this is actually an important thing in real life, not only like in laboratory tests, but if you use it like I did during my trip to Morocco, northern Morocco, Casablanca, Rabat, this part of the coast. You want something reliable, specifically if you travel to crazy locations like that with a lot of life, a lot of things going on around you. You want to capture those moments. You want to capture this culture. You want to capture some, project that you're working on. Being able to have a reliable autofocus and, being able to manipulate with everything, or set everything with one hand and use second hand just for the stabilization if you need that, is a very important thing. And Nikon actually nailed it. It is a great camera. Now, the connectivity is very good. You have jack port, headphone jack, microphone jack. You have micro HDMI and USB-C. And very important to remember that most Nikons need power delivery charger to charge your camera. Not like, for example, in case of Sony, you can charge it even with your phone charger. That's a downside, but the good side is that you can use it as a webcam, which is kind of an important thing for many content creators nowadays, for many people nowadays, that you can plug it into your computer and have a very good quality webcam. Battery life is just okay, nothing spectacular, nothing bad. Screen and viewfinder quality, very good. So after all, the build quality, buttons, button layout, and usability of this camera, and its weight and size, to me, it's really, really good. Now let's talk about image quality. Image quality is actually pretty good. There's a lot of detail in photos that you can see, like the samples from Morocco, and I love working with this camera. 20 megapixel sensor, for many people can be a downside, but to me it's not actually a downside because, let me explain. I like it. I like 20 megapixels on APS-C sensor because it gives me better dynamic range. Specifically that we are talking about 8 years old sensor. It's better than its, low resolution. Then they would add some more resolution, but we would lose some of the dynamic range. Talking about the dynamic range, is pretty decent here. Actually, it is very easy to work with raw files from this camera. As you can see for yourself, you can drag the shadows up and drag the highlights down, and everything looks pretty fine. With this very important information here, that shadows, man, this 8-year-old sensor once again comes up here, right? High ISO performance is not really great. Let me talk about that in a moment. But if you shoot something with anything above 800, dragging these shadows up will be, noisy. So that's something you have to just deal with. And if you know that, and if you can use this up to 800, this camera just performs very, very well. Now let's talk about higher ISO. So 400, good. 800, good. Anything above 1600 starts to become pretty noisy, and that's a little disappointing for current gen camera. However, one of the things I always mentioned, and I will mention in this review, which is important, I believe, is that this noise is pretty even. So it's kind of easy to reduce in post-production. Nowadays, with all the algorithms we have, it is not necessarily a deal breaker. However, be aware of the fact that if you like to shoot in very low light situations and you don't have bright prime lens or bright zoom lens, that can be a deterring factor. However, in my case, it didn't bother me too much, honestly, because like I don't usually use anything above 800. To be honest, like in most cases, like in the afternoon, I would switch to 400 to be safe. 800 during the dusk. After that, I usually don't take photos. I go for, in this case, not a beer because, like, you know, there is beer in Morocco, but well, that's a long story. I go for coffee. Let's say, nah, coffee at this time, not tea, right? Let's stick to tea or dinner. Dinner is a great choice here. So now let's talk about the video capabilities of this camera. Well, we have 4K 24, we have 4K 30 frames per second. So very good video quality, 10 bits. It is oversampled. So as you can see for yourself, 4K 30 frames per second to me looks great. Well, 60 frames at 4K, not that great because there's a lot of crop, 1.5. And taking into consideration this higher ISO, poor performance, if you want to go anywhere beyond 800 with 4K 60 frames per second, it becomes a little too soft for my taste. But 4K 30 frames per second, as you can see for yourself, is perfectly usable. It's really good. It's more than usable. It's really good. So no problems with that. 1080p is also fine. So video-wise, it's an okay camera. Not spectacular, but the colors are nice, and combined with actually pretty nice algorithm of electronic image stabilization, that makes this camera quite versatile tool. Electronic image stabilization, of course, is nothing perfect, but it's better than, for example, like in case of Canon. For my personal taste, I prefer how electronic image stabilization here works with Nikons than with Canons. But I would love to see an IBIS in this camera. That would be killer camera with a little newer sensor, with a little better low light performance, and with IBIS at this price range, Nikon would just, you know, win the competition here. I don't know if that's possible. Maybe I'm asking for too much. You know, let me know in the comments below if I'm crazy or something, but that's something I would love to see. However, one of the downsides here, again, I believe this is connected to maybe this older sensor, is quite extensive, quite visible rolling shutter. Of course, if you do something like that with your camera, it's pretty much always visible with 4K nowadays, specifically with APS-C cameras that are not, you know, the fastest or doesn't get the best image sensors usually. But you can see it in real life when cars are passing or motorcycles are passing. There's a little twist there. So that's a little bit of a downside to me. Nothing major, but something to keep in mind if you're thinking about videography. Now, the colors of the camera, as you can see on some images that are more colorful here, you know, I like Nikon colors. I like to work with those colors. Those colors are a little bit more like maybe vibrant. They're good. There's a good amount of contrast in this images from Nikon. I just like those images. Most importantly though, I love autofocus in this camera, and I would easily compare it with autofocus of Sony systems. Why? Because it's not about things on the paper like, oh, this autofocus has like this much, you know, AF points and use this or that technology. Yes, this is important, but the most important thing is easy to use. It detects objects like cars, like motorcycles, like birds, like people. Most importantly to me, it's easy to use. It detects everything automatically almost. It is very easy to use, very easy to navigate. You want to override the autofocus, you just tap on the part of the screen you want the AF to be. You just cancel it and then it's back, like for example on somebody's eye or somebody's face. It's very reliable. It works really, really good. It is fast, it is reliable, and even in some cases I was like trying to take those photos of like, you know, motorcycles, like these scooters, little scooters on, you know, Arabic markets that are like kind of a main vehicle there, like these narrow streets. This is how they transport stuff, right? And they have all these like amazing inventions around those little scooters. And like taking photo of the scooter. I was taking the photo of the scooter, and autofocus was on this scooter perfectly fine. And then somebody passed behind, and immediately it detected his or her eye, and that's just amazing. Like, I mean, it's really, really, really good AF system with a lot of intuitive, thing to it, and a lot of power to it. Like, so you can detect pretty much anything, not pretty much anything, but a lot of things. And this may put this camera as a good choice for a beginner, like a bird watching camera or nature photographer camera, because it is also very fast. Now, to sum up, would I recommend this camera? Absolutely, yes. It is a very, very capable Nikon camera. You can take a look for yourself. I had a lot of pleasure taking photos with this camera. It's a great travel camera, for example. In my case, paired with Nikon 10 to 21, I don't remember exactly this power zoom, super wide power zoom lens. It was a lot of fun. I had like great time with this camera. The colors are nice. The way you work with this camera is nice. I could operate everything with one hand. It is fast. It is reliable. So I could, turn it on and immediately get the shot done. The results, I think they speak for themselves. I had good time with Nikon. I would love, though, to see a new DX sensor with better low light performance, with lower rolling shutter, and that would be probably, and I'm really honest right now, my favorite APS-C camera. Oh, and IBs, like image stabilization, built-in image stabilization, sensor image stabilization, not digital image stabilization, and that would be my favorite APS-C camera. It's not there yet, so I'm loving Z5 Mark II. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this camera. Are you disappointed, or are you considering to buy one? Oh, and I do have to mention that with this, something that I mentioned at the beginning, that with this price drop now, that you can buy cheaper than day one, this is now a much better option to consider. So once again, please subscribe, thumbs up. I hope you liked it, and I see you guys in the next one. Cheers.